You're in your early 40s. It's late. The house is finally quiet. The kids are asleep. The TV is off. The lights are low. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, phone in your hand, scrolling through your bank app. Not because something is wrong, but because you need reassurance. And that's the part that surprises you. Because on paper, your life looks successful. You make more money than you ever have. You've done what you were told. You followed the rules. So why does it still feel like one wrong month could knock everything over? Why do you feel tense instead of confident? Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Your 40s aren't about getting rich. They're about deciding whether the rest of your life feels calm or constantly pressured. And most people miss that decision completely. My name is Salvo, and I've spent years thinking about money, not just how it grows, but how it feels to live with it. Because money doesn't just shape your future balance sheet, it shapes how you sleep, how you talk to your family, how much patience you have left at the end of the day. And your 40s, they quietly lock all of that in. If you're watching this and something inside you is nodding, even slightly, stay with me. Because this decade is not forgiving, but it is powerful. If you understand what's really at stake, let's get one thing out of the way. Most people think the goal of their 40s is to make more money. And yes, income matters. I won't pretend it doesn't. But income alone doesn't decide your future. Margin does. Margin is the space between what you earn and what you're committed to. Margin is what lets you breathe when life throws a punch. Margin is what lets you say no without panic. Margin is what lets you make decisions instead of reactions. And the reason your 40s matter so much is simple. This is the decade where margin either locks in or quietly disappears. Here's what's happening for most people in their 40s, even if they don't realize it. Your income is finally solid. You've reached a professional level where raises are meaningful. At the same time, your fixed costs are at their peak. Mortgage, cars, insurance, kids' activities, subscriptions, lifestyle commitments you didn't consciously choose. They just accumulated. And here's the paradox. You're earning more, but you're less flexible than ever. That's not an accident, it's a trap. Let me show you two futures that start in the exact same place. Same age, same income, same family size. Path 1 looks impressive from the outside. Nice house in a good school district. 2 newer cars. Vacations that look great on Instagram. Everything financed, everything justified. But underneath that surface, every dollar already has a job. Most months, 80% of income is committed before it even hits the account. Unexpected expense, credit card, career opportunity that requires risk, can't afford it. Time off to reset? Not possible. This person isn't broke, but they're exposed. They live with a low-grade anxiety that never fully shuts off. Path 2 looks quieter. House might be smaller than what the bank approved. Cars are paid off or older. Lifestyle is intentional, not reactive. But here's the difference. They have margin. 20 to 30% of their income is unspoken for. And that changes everything. They can handle a setback without panic. They can walk away from a bad job. They can say yes to opportunity. Same income, completely different future. The difference isn't intelligence. It's not luck. It's the decisions made in their 40s about fixed costs. Here's why this decade is different from your 20s and 30s. In your 20s, mistakes are cheap. You have time. In your 30s, you still have resets. You can pivot. But in your 40s, time is still on your side, but not infinitely. Every financial decision now compounds forward in a more concentrated way. You don't get unlimited do-overs. That doesn't mean it's too late. It means it's important. Let's talk about the silent killer of financial peace. Overhead. Overhead doesn't feel dangerous. It feels normal. A little nicer house, a slightly bigger car payment, a few more subscriptions. Individually, none of these feel reckless, but together, they create fragility. And fragility is what keeps high earners stressed. Take cars, for example. The average new car payment in the US is now around $750 per month. Most households have two. That's $1,500 every single month, before gas, insurance, or maintenance. Now here's the part most people never calculate. That same $1,500 invested monthly even conservatively over 15 years, can turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Cars don't just cost money, they cost options. And in your 40s, options matter more than image. Housing is even more powerful. Banks don't approve mortgages based on comfort, they approve them based on maximum tolerance. Just because you can afford a payment doesn't mean your future self should. Locking yourself into a house that consumes 35 to 45% of your income might feel responsible today, but it quietly steals your flexibility for decades. And flexibility is what determines whether your 50s feel confident or constrained. Now let's talk about something most people don't expect. Financial stress changes how your brain works. When money feels tight, even if you earn a lot, your brain enters survival mode. Psychologists call this tunneling. You focus on the next bill, the next payment, the next problem. Long-term thinking shrinks. You don't stop caring about the future. You just don't have the mental bandwidth to plan for it. And that's why people with high income still make short-term decisions that hurt them long-term. It's not a discipline issue. It's a margin issue. This is why emergency savings are so powerful, not because of the interest rate, but because of what they do to your nervous system. When you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, your shoulders drop, your sleep improves, your reactions slow down, you stop flinching at notifications, and that mental calm, it spills into better decisions everywhere else. This is also where careers change. People stuck financially tend to feel stuck professionally. They can't negotiate, they can't walk away, they can't take risks. But when you have margin, you stop begging for permission. You can wait for the right opportunity instead of the next one. That's how careers accelerate quietly in your 40s. Now let's talk about the traps that sabotage this decade. Trap 1, lifestyle creep. You get a raise and 6 months later, it's gone. The solution isn't deprivation, it's direction. Whenever income rises, savings should rise faster. That one rule alone can change everything. Trap 2, using savings as rewards. You hit a milestone, then spend it. That resets compounding. Savings aren't trophies, they're tools. Trap 3, upgrading housing without upgrading margin. Equity doesn't pay bills, cash flow does. Trap 4, long-term car debt. 7-year loans aren't flexibility, they're anchors. None of these are moral failures, they're common, encouraged, marketed, but your 40s are when normal stops being safe. So what do? You don't need a revolution, you need alignment. Start with your savings rate, not your income, your keep rate. Lower fixed costs where possible. Automate savings so willpower isn't required. Think in opportunity cost, not monthly payments. And above all, protect your margins, your most valuable asset, because it is. Your 40s are the last major turning point where small changes still create massive downstream impact. You don't need perfection. You need direction, reduce exposure, build buffer, create options. That's how the future gets quieter. And a quiet future, that's real wealth. If this video made you reflect, even uncomfortably, tell me in the comments. What's one financial decision you made earlier in life that you'd approach differently today? And if this helped you see your 40s differently, hit like and subscribe. This channel isn't about hype, it's about clarity. Your 40s aren't the end of the story. They're where you decide how it feels to live the rest of it.